Thanks for joining us for the webinar today, and we're going to be talking about getting started with CRM. My name is Britt Briscoe, and I'm a CRM consultant with IBIS. I have 4 years of experience working with a sales and marketing team using CRM 2011, and so now we're going to be showing you 2015 and what you're going to be looking at when you're getting started in CRM. So agenda today, we're just going to kind of go over the overview. We're going to look at some of the navigation within the system, looking at some of the form layouts between the different entities, and those entities would be leads, accounts, contacts, and opportunities. Now, there are other modules within CRM, like service for your customer service reps, but really we're just going to focus in on the sales and marketing side of CRM. So first we'll just talk about navigation, and what we'll do is we'll actually go into CRM so you can actually see it firsthand. So as you can see here on the screen with CRM 2015 specifically, our navigation is really here at the top of the screen. So everything is a ribbon-based navigation. So if I were to click on this Microsoft Dynamics CRM, if I hover over that, you'll see the drop-down to show my different sections. So I have sales, service, marketing, settings, and then help. Some of these sections, like settings or help, you may or may not see based on your security role, as well as the service, marketing, and sales. So you can modify these so that your sales team only sees sales, or your marketing team only sees marketing, or whatever configuration that you want to use. So once we click into sales, you'll notice that the second piece now is sales, and it has its own drop down. And so again, within here, you're going to have a few different out-of-the-box sections like dashboards, what's new, activities, accounts, contacts, leads, and opportunities. But if you were to add other plugins or other entities, you'll see that there'll be several other ones out there that you can use. Again, going into security roles, you can take these away so that you don't see them in the drop-down, or that the users don't necessarily have to use. So what we'll do is we'll kind of just stop here for the dashboard section. So most of the time when you start, one of the first sections you're going to be looking at is your dashboards. Dashboards are just a representation of the data that's within the system. So maybe in a future session we can look at creating events, finds, charts, dashboards, and other things like that. But really all this does is it gives you a graphical representation of what's there, and you can easily look at the data and maneuver through it. So we'll go ahead and we'll go into sales like we are, and we'll go over to the leads section. I'm just going to open up this lead here, and we'll look at the way the screen and the form is actually laid out. So if we look at the layout of a lead, you'll notice at the top we have a process bar, as well as our information right here at the bottom. So in our information, everything's kind of sectioned into 3 different sections. We have a summary on the left side, which has just our data within CRM. So you might have, the contact information, the company information. Again, this is at a lead level, and we'll talk about what that means in a second. In the middle section, we have our activities. So these activities could be anything from a phone call, an email, a task that you might need to do. Not only do we have activities, but we do have notes. So notes is kind of a free-form note field. You can add attachments to. It'll timestamp it so that you can check those for later. But really, in CRM, we like to use activities. That way you can actually change what type of activity it is. So you could see how many phone calls were made or how many email messages were sent, rather than just a note that's a little harder to search on. On the right side, you have your stakeholders, which is another entity. So who might be the people that you're talking to through this lead. Below that, you'll see competitors. So again, competitors are nice where you can actually see maybe who you need to keep in mind that they're already talking to. And then over here on the left side, you're actually going to see this map here, and that's going to be a reference to Bing Maps. So if I were to put an address right above this, it'll actually show that particular address on a map. And when we get to the accounts, I might be able to show you one of those. So kind of going back up to this process bar, You notice that there's a couple different sections. We have a qualify, a develop, purpose, and a close. Again, those are fully customizable. This can have 10 steps, it can have 3 steps. But within each of those steps, you have certain fields that need to be filled out. So with those fields, again, you can add what you want to put on there. You can make them required, you can make them business recommended, or just have a field there in case you want to put some data in it. Of course, in order to move on to the next step, we would need all the fields filled in that were required, and then we would just hit our button that says next step, and it would take us into this next stage of develop. And then when you go into develop, you'll get the next fields. But what's really good about this is this process bar can actually maneuver through different entities. So if you think about a process flow that you want to have for your particular sales team or marketing team for a specific lead or account, you can create a process where it starts out as a lead and goes to account, to contact, and so forth. So if I go back over here, we'll see that we talked about the form layout. We have the different sections that we looked at, and this one actually is an account, so we don't necessarily have the process bar. And we'll look at those in a second. What I wanted to kind of show you is just the out-of-the-box process that CRM usually uses. Now, again, everybody uses CRM slightly different in the fact that you can have this go in different orders, or you can have different entities that you might want to create, some custom ones that are in between these steps. But out of the box, you normally start in a lead, and a lead is just a person, a company that may or may not be interested in your product. And these can come from list or someone calling in from your website, however that might be. From there, your lead's going to come down to a process of you saying if they're qualified or if they're not. You know, are these people really interested? Do they meet our requirements in order to do business with them? And if they do, we're going to qualify them, and we're going to create 3 new entities. Again, these entities, you may or may not create all 3. You may create just 1, just 2, or you might even have some custom ones that you're doing through this creation process. But for the most part, out of the box, you're going to create an account, contact, and an opportunity. And we'll kind of look at each of those. But essentially, that lead, you saw that we were asking for company information and a person's information. And what this process is going to do is it's going to create a contact with that person's information and an account with that company's information. So the opportunity that you would see now would be the opportunity of them actually doing business with you. So when we talk about that process flow, we would probably have step 1 being a lot of the lead information, step 2 being where you're flowing into the opportunity or maybe the account, depending what your next step really looks like. So what we'll do is we'll go back to sales, and we'll just go into accounts first. And so here you see a couple different accounts that are in here. And we'll just click on this one. And again, with account, you see a lot of the same layout that we saw. And again, this is all out-of-the-box layout. It can be modified. You could add, remove fields, move them around. You can make this 2 columns, however you wanted to see it. But again, this is kind of what it looks like out of the box. So if I'm looking at this account, again, I have my summary information. I have all my different activities that have been made. And here you can actually see the different types of activities, the dates that they were created, the information around them. We could, click into these and open them up, get some more information around it, because again, all these forms can be modified and edited to show you what you need to see. So we'll go back, just to kind of show you over here that this side changes just a little bit. So you have a primary contact, who's the one person that you're going to be contacting. Who are the contacts? So here's a list of all the contacts that are associated with this account. And then the recent opportunities. So again, you might be able to see that they have multiple opportunities opened up. Maybe some of them are closed. So here we see there's one that's open and we have one that's won. We'll talk about opportunities in just a second, but they really have different statuses to let you know, was this opportunity won and closed and we got business from it? Is it still open? Or is it lost, as in, it just didn't work out? But I did want to show you over here again on that Bing Maps like we were talking about. It took this address and it plugged it in right here. So if I were to scroll in, just like you can do with any of the map software, you can kind of get an idea of where that particular business is. So you can see maybe what buildings are around, what roads are near it, or however that, whatever information might help you in order to service this account better. Like we were talking about, we're going to go into the opportunity. So here we can see that there's the opportunity attached. to this particular account. Another way to get there is if you were to go to sales, you can scroll over and see opportunity. So we'll jump into the opportunity. And we'll see here on the opportunity we have a different progress bar that's going on, process bar. So here, again, we can make a process bar for any page that we want, any process that we want, and we can change those steps. So here, we have a lot of the same things we're seeing that we saw in the lead, but really you can have a whole different process bar for your opportunity if you had the different steps that you wanted to do during your particular process of working the opportunity. So what we'll do is, you notice that up here we have some just quick information. So we have our estimated close date, estimated revenue, the status, and the owner of the opportunity. And these are also fields that when you're modifying your forms, you can put some quick data up at the top. So that way you're not having to scroll down or look through the particular information to try to find those fields. The last entity I want to show you is just contacts. So we went through, we've done leads, accounts, opportunities. I just wanted to show you contacts. So I'm going to change my view to see all active contacts. And we're just going to go into this contact here. So what's really nice about this system is you can have as many contacts as you want to attach to an account. So now when you're doing these kind of views, which again we might look at in a later session, you can try to find accounts that have contacts that look a certain way. So here you might want to add additional fields like, maybe what's their favorite sports team, or maybe when their wife's birthday is, or whatever that might be that helps you on a conversation when you're talking to these contacts. So again, all these fields can be added, they can be modified, but here you're just seeing some of the basic information. So email address, phone number, the company that they're associated with. Over here you can actually see the cases. So if you think about when a customer were to call in and maybe they have an issue with something, or they're just wanting to change their password or something like that, we can create cases. And we'll look at cases again later if we do a servicing webcast or something like that. But here you'd be able to see all the different cases and maybe what happened to them during that process. And really that's the basic, maneuvering through CRM, the basic navigation. There's a lot more within the system. There's a lot more sections that we're not really looking at. But the most important thing is every form that you look at, they're laid out very similar. They're very easy to use. The navigation, again, is pretty easy to navigate through to get to the sections that you want to. And really, when you're using these dashboards, this is going to become most of your navigation, most of your homepage, because from here I can click on any of these and actually get to the different entities that I want to look at. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us on the call today and just checking out the webinar. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and contact us. And I can be contacted right here at bbriscoe@ibisync.com for anything that you might need. And again, just want to thank you.